guys, welcome to science. Hope you're having a great day. Today we're going to start talking about types of rocks. So we are on lesson 11.1, and your question today is, what is sedimentary rock and how does it form? So that's what we're going to try to find out. We're going to explore the types of rock that make up Earth's surface and explain how they are formed. We are working on a new standard now. The standard is to develop a model to describe the cycling of Earth's materials and the flow of energy that drives this process. So, we did already finish the cycling of water and how the sun's energy and gravity affect the process. So now we're moving on to the cycling of Earth's materials and the flow of energy that drives this process. So to start with, I would like for you just to take a moment and just observe this picture. Look at the rock that you see in this picture from the Grand Canyon, and go ahead and describe the rocks that you see. Think about the colors, think about the texture. What do you notice? So hopefully you are noticing the layers there in the rocks. If you notice, they do look like they have different layers. Down here we have this like much duller brown color, and then we move up into here, you can see some like bright orange kind of colors in there, and then moving up we get the red color. If we go back all the way to the top, we've got it more of this lighter color. So you should be able to notice those layers for the colors, and also the texture. You notice that it's very bumpity, rigidy there, almost like it's stacked on top of each other in a layer here. So this is sedimentary rock, and we are going to take a look at how sedimentary rock forms today. The other types of rock we will be looking at this week are igneous and metamorphic. So those are your three types of rock. So you probably want to make a spot in your driving questions note for each of these three types of rock, and then take some notes on them as we learn about how they are formed. So we're going to watch a short video about sedimentary rock, and it's going to tell you the story of how a sedimentary rock forms.
Did you ever stop and think about a sedimentary rock?
Oh, I love rock!
No, not rock music. I'm talking about the process of forming a rock. It takes a very long time and happens over and over again. This is the story of a sedimentary rock. Let's start with weathering. There are all kinds of weathering that can break rocks up into smaller pieces. For example, extreme temperatures like cold and heat can cause rocks to expand, contract, and split. Look out below! Once rocks are broken into smaller pieces and particles, they can be moved more easily from one place to another. This movement might be caused by wind, water, glacial movement, or gravity. This step of the process is called erosion.
Hey, Frank.
Hey, Katie.
That's one heck of a commute.
Eventually, the particles of rock are dropped.
Next up, deposition. Everybody on.
These particles are layered on top of one another, building up over time.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about this part. It's like building a sandwich. A rock sandwich.
Well, sort of. And that brings us to compaction. Compaction happens when the top layers of sediment press down on the bottom layers of sediment. All of that weight presses the particles down further.
That looks like a tight fit.
It is, and that brings us to cementation. As water evaporates, various minerals remain between the particles, causing them to stick together.
Like using a big tub of glue.
Exactly. And now our little friend is part of a sedimentary rock. For now.
All right, so sedimentary rock. The word sedimentary comes from the Latin word sedere, meaning to settle. So if something settles, that means it's, stopping movement, going to be still, settling. Sedimentary rock makes up most of the rock we see on Earth, and rocks form on or near the Earth's surface. So here's some more examples of sedimentary rock. All right, here's some more information for you and a nice little diagram for you to copy down. So wind, water, and ice wear away and weather rocks, producing sediment. So we've already learned about that part. So we know that weathering is that process where the rocks actually break down into smaller pieces, and then those smaller pieces are called sediment. So over time, the new sediment layers cover existing sediment layers, squeezing out space until it is glued together into solid rock. So you saw that in the video, they had the big bottle of glue, right? Nobody really actually glues the rocks together, but as they just squeeze and squeeze and squeeze closer together, it glues them together as a rock. And then different colored layers are different materials deposited on top of each other. So the next time something is deposited there, it might have been a completely different color, and then it goes down and gets in the same process again, squeezing out all the space, getting glued together, and now you have another layer of the rock that looks a completely different color than the one below it. So that's how you end up with those different colors, or the layered look of the rocks. So this diagram kind of shows, this is first thing, the deposit sediments on the bottom, and then layers of sediments covered by new layers, and then burial squeezes out the spaces in between the sediments. So this first group down here gets squeezed really hard by the other layers that are coming in on top. That gets out all the air, it gets everything out of there, the water evaporates out of there, and those minerals are left packed together into the solid rock. All right, there are 3 types of sedimentary rock. First is called clastic, and clastic is formed by when weathering creates sediment and is deposited and layers form. Lower layers become solid rock as sediment is compacted by the weight of the layers above it. Okay, so this is the process that is formed by those little parts of rock that get broken off and get eroded and then get deposited. So this is your rock kind of sedimentary rock, clastic. And then we have what's called organic. So organic's a little bit different. Instead of rocks that are getting weathered, it's actually organic matter, such as leaves, roots, plants, and even animal material that build up when they die. And then that matter gets trapped in layers of sediment and can fossilize. Okay. And we'll talk more about fossils in a minute. And then our third type is chemical, and this is when water evaporates and previously dissolved minerals are left behind. So an example of this might be some rock salt, because you know that when salt water, when the water evaporates, the salt gets left behind, right? And so then those can be formed in layers and layers and form into sedimentary rock as well. All right, so let's talk about fossils just a little bit more. Fossils are preserved remains or traces, such as footprints, right, of animals, plants, and other organisms. Fossils are most often found in sedimentary rocks. So you're not going to find these as often in the igneous or the metamorphic rock. It's going to be in your sedimentary rock, because that process of how it builds is what causes those fossils to form. So as sediment settles on top of it, the animal gets buried. So an animal dies, it's underneath there. Over years and years, the sediment is being packed and it's being eroded and then deposited in that spot. It's building up in layers and building up, and it's going to start pressing down. And as it presses in on that animal that's underneath there, then the remains get fossilized. It presses together and it becomes part of that rock. Pretty cool, right? And then millions of years later, that rock might get weathered enough that it exposes the fossil. And you can see some cool pictures of the fossils here that I put for you to see. That one of the fish, the dinosaur bones. This one looks like a big foot. I don't even really know what this one is of. Maybe a leaf of some sort got fossilized there. Okay, so you can look up fossils if you're interested in it. Find some more really cool pictures of fossils online if you're interested in fossils. All right, so that's all for today. Your task today is pretty simple. If you've been watching this video, you should know the answer to this question, and I just need you to type it out for me. How does sedimentary rock form? So go back through and think of those steps. First of all, weathering has to happen of the rock, the main rocks, right? Then that sediment is going to get eroded and then deposited in wherever place it's going to be. That deposited sediment builds up layer upon layer upon layer. The pressure of gravity, right, pressing it down causes the bottom layers to actually start to bond or glue together basically and form that rock. And then the process just keeps on repeating. So that's how the sedimentary rock is formed. Sedimentary. All right, Noelle came to say hi at the end of class here today. So you can say hi to Noelle and you can go get busy. You're going to actually type this. I just put it in as a Google question today. So go in and type your answer out to how this type of rock is formed.